Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. It's Phil here from 121 IELTS, and today we're going to be looking at a class that I took with my students, showing them how to write introductions for a causes and solutions style essay. In today's class we are going to go over question analysis, we'll look at idea generation, and then we will address how to write the paraphrase, and we will look at how to write the outline statement when we need to give multiple causes and multiple solutions. In many countries, crime rates amongst younger people have been rising. Discuss the causes and solutions for this problem. What is the first thing that we need to do once we have a question? Question analysis. That is exactly what we need to do. To analyze a question, we want to think about some specific words, the general topic, and what type of question. What would you say are the key words? What would you be underlining here? Crime and rising, yep, crime rates. Younger people, yep, we're only caring about younger people. And is it everywhere? Many countries, yeah, not everywhere, yeah. So these would be the specific words to have a look at. General topic, what is our general topic today? Crime rates, I would maybe go as far as to say increasing crime rates. And what type of question is it? Causes and solutions. So one cause, one solution, or many causes, many solutions. I was saying 2 and 2, yeah, plural. So we're going to have multi causes. Be very careful here when we are looking, is it talking about causes or solutions or problems? So it has the word problem here, but it has discuss the causes. So we're not looking for problems. We're talking about what are the causes for this situation. So why is it important that we know about multiple ideas, task response, and structure? So it's really important that we know how many ideas we've got. So it's going to change the structure that we use. There is one structure for single ideas, and there is one structure for multiple ideas for this type of question. Before going on to the structure, we want to generate some ideas. Let's have a look at the causes first. So when we're generating ideas, what do we want to be thinking about? Simple. What else did we say they wanted to be? Yeah, obvious, relevant, obviously very important. And what was the other word? So Tamara said, yeah, concise or specific. We want our ideas to be specific, not vague. So this is what we'll focus on when we have a look at these. So causes to start with, what would be the most obvious causes for crime rates amongst younger people rising? And if we look at this, the grammar, let's quickly go back to here with an analysis of the question. What tense has this got and what does it mean? Perfect, present, present, perfect, continuous, yep. So what does that mean about these crime rates? When did they start rising? Did they only just start rising? Yeah, Navita says, from the past till now, are they continuing to rise? Yeah, so remember that we're not talking about crime rates that have finished rising. They started in the past, they're continuing to rise. And make sure that our ideas are focusing on that grammar, that it is a continual process. So what do you think? Why might crime rates amongst younger people have started to rise? Okay, Maitreya says no employment. And when we're making notes on our idea generation, we want to keep it nice and simple, like one word, 2 words. Tamara says they can watch films on TV. Do you think it's the fact they can watch it? I think maybe we could say influenced by TV. There's more, not so much that they can watch them, but they're being influenced by TV. My friend says the lack of education. Okay, influence by video games, absent parents. And you notice I'm trying to keep my my notes here as short and as simple as possible, so we're not writing long notes here. A shortcut to be rich. Okay, so we've got quite a few ideas here. So let's have a look at these. So our first one, no employment. Is this a simple idea to explain? Can you relate employment or no employment to young people doing crime? Do you think it's easy? And remember, this is up to you. So Duri was saying it's not easy. Okay, so for you, I would advise not going with this idea. For me, I think this is a really easy, specific idea, so I would have no problem doing this. Definitely relevant, no question. It's relevant. Is it specific? Is it very clear? There's no question about what this is talking about. There's no unemployment. Therefore, people, young people are committing crime to make money. Influenced by TV. Is this simple? Is it an obvious idea? I would say, yeah. Like people, okay, they see a lot of crime on TV. It encourages them. There's more crime on TV. So this is encouraging people to do it. Is it relevant? Yep, definitely. And is it specific? Is there any question about what this is talking about? Yeah, it's very, very specific. Good. Do we think it's simple? If people are not educated, is it quite easy to explain why they might commit crime? So a lot of people saying yes. So again, remember, this is up to you. Some ideas, some people are going to find easy to talk about. Some people are going to find other ideas. So I would say, yeah, it is simple. It's definitely relevant. Is it very specific? I think this is quite a specific idea. So at the moment, so these three, all good. Influenced by video games. So very, very similar to this previous idea of influenced by TV. I think this is a simple, relevant, and specific idea. However, if your first body paragraph was talking about, or your first idea, should I say, is talking about influenced by TV, I would pick a different idea here. So influenced by TV and influenced by video games, the ideas are a bit too similar. So individually, they're both absolutely fine, but we're going to try and vary our ideas so we don't sound too repetitive. Okay. Absent parents. Maitreya was saying, not sure. Maricel is related to a lack of education. Yeah, so again, these two are very similar. If you've got parents around, parents can educate their children to be well behaved. So again, I think both of these are relevant. However, I wouldn't want to have these as my two ideas. One of these ideas is great, but then we want to try and vary our ideas as much as possible. Obviously, if you can't come up with any other ideas and you're in the exam, then go with these, because they are both relevant ideas. But if you have a number of ideas to choose from, like we do here, then we're going to choose more varied ideas. Is a shortcut to becoming rich? Is it relevant? Maricel says no, and why? Nabila says yes. It's easy to find money. I'm going to say no, and there's something I mentioned earlier, the grammar in this question. What does the grammar mentioned here? So the grammar said this crime, it started in the past and it's getting more. Is it becoming more and more of a shortcut to get rich? Has this shortcut to getting rich changed at all? I would say this is something that has always been the case, that crime has always been a shortcut to getting rich, but it doesn't talk about why these rates are rising. It's definitely a reason why people commit crime, but it doesn't address this have been rising part of the question. So absent parents, this could definitely talk about why it's been rising, because parents are more absent now. Influenced by video games, there are more video games now, so it's increasing. A lack of education, the education is getting worse, therefore the crime is increasing. Employment is getting worse. So all of these things are changing, and therefore it affects rising. This one at the moment just affects why do people commit crime. So we've got to be thinking about all of the question, all of the keywords. So at the moment, it doesn't really do that. And then this one, Maitreya was saying he wasn't sure. So psychologically disturbed. So the children are psychologically disturbed. What do we think? Are large quantities of children psychologically disturbed? I would say no. And if you did argue it, I would say it's incredibly vague. Why are they psychologically disturbed? So we could maybe use this kind of idea in relation to their influence by video games or influence by TV. But both of these are very specific ideas. The psychologically disturbed kids doesn't really address the question. So I would say this is too vague. So I would say no to that one. We've got quite a number of ideas here. If you've managed to, when you're brainstorming ideas in your exam, you come up with 5 ideas, you don't need to think, oh, I need to brainstorm 10. Like 5 is absolutely fine, and we can choose the easiest ones here. A question I was asked by someone just a minute ago is, what does younger people refer to? What do we think younger people is referring to? Because it's really important that we understand this. Bila says adolescence. Is it only adolescence? Tamara's being a bit more specific, saying like 18 to 37. So yeah, I would probably say from older teenagers. So it's not talking about children. We're not talking about young children. So probably like younger people. Yeah, there's no exact age group here, but I would say roughly from around 16 to around 30, maybe, or 25. So that kind of age range. So young adults plus teenagers, but it's not mentioning children. So I'm not thinking it's any younger than that. So if I see this younger people, I would definitely be thinking probably about 16 to 25, maybe. That's what the kind of age range that comes to mind. Obviously, if you're thinking about 30 and it was 25, it doesn't matter. But just to give you a ballpark figure of what they're talking about when they're talking about younger people. Children refers to anyone under the age of 18. So that one's easy, Duri. If you ever see children, it refers from under 18, because in most Western societies, 18 plus is considered an adult. And again, when people are talking about adults, that refers to 18 plus. So young adults would be 18 to 30, more or less. Okay, let's have a look at solutions. So again, nice and simple, keeping it relevant, keeping it specific. Actually, before we hit solution, let's decide which our causes are, because then we can find solutions to our causes. So which of these do you think are the easiest to describe? Let's give them some numbers. So a number of people said unemployment seems to be popular. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Lots of people said 1 and 2. So let's go with 1 and 2. And of course, as I said, all of these are definitely relevant. So you could choose any of these. It's up to you, whatever you find easiest. Just my students in the chat seem to be voting democratically for 1 and 2. So we'll go with 1 and 2. Solutions. How can we reduce these crime rates? So probably the best way of dealing with a solution is looking at what's causing crime rates. So unemployment seems to be the first one. So Dory says job opportunities. I'm going to come back to this in a second. Definitely along the right lines, the right way of thinking. Governments provide jobs. Non-violent programs replaced by educative ones. So what are these non-violent programs doing? So for me, I'm just going to copy this so everyone can see it. But the first idea is just too vague for me. These programs are getting replaced by educative ones. So what are these programs? What are non-violent programs? So this is incredibly vague here at the moment. Or violent programs. Oh, you mean on TV? Ah, okay. Yep, sorry. Violent programs should be replaced. Yep. So again, when I'm taking notes, I don't want to be writing long sentences. So we can just be like violent programs replaced by educative, or the normal adjective when we talk about education is educational. Improve education. So we're going to have a look at these. So we've got lots of ideas. So we certainly don't need any more than this if we sat there and started brainstorming. So let's have a look at the first one. Job opportunities. It's relevant. You know, if we provide job opportunities, so a simple idea. Is it a specific idea? There is saying, I mean, providing job opportunities. Job. So even this. To me, this is, again, too vague. How are people providing job opportunities? Who's providing job opportunities? And we can look at these first two ideas at the same time, because I see this all the time. The solution is governments should provide jobs. How do governments provide jobs? Does the government just go out and go to companies? Okay, make more jobs available. I mean, maybe in a communist regime, you might be able to do that. But in a capitalist regime, it would be very difficult for a government to say, okay, make jobs. You know, you don't just go to a company, okay, you've got to have 20 more jobs. The company's like, I can't afford to employ people, so it just doesn't work. Nabila says in Argentina they do. This might be the problem in Argentina, Nabila. So I like this idea, but we want to be a bit more specific and a bit more realistic. So who are the people who provide jobs? Governments normally don't, unless it's public sector, it's companies. So how can we help companies provide jobs? And we can fix this common error that I see all the time with this idea. When are companies going to start providing jobs? Companies will start providing jobs when they're doing well. So what do we need to do to help companies provide jobs? Or what should governments do to help companies provide jobs? So again, apprenticeships, they're pretty much going to be provided by the companies. So here, what I was thinking is maybe get governments to invest. So if governments invest in companies, then will be an increase in jobs. So this is something governments could do with companies, is investing. That can create jobs, but governments rarely can just create jobs like that. So this would be a much more specific idea, a specific solution. Violent TV programs replaced by educational. Is this simple? Yeah, definitely relevant, specific, very, very specific. So yeah, super easy to look at. Improve education. Is it simple? Yeah, I think it's a pretty obvious idea, improving education. Definitely relevant. If you improve education, more people are going to be employed. And it's specific. So there's no question about how this relates to the topic. This to me is a really good idea. As far as solutions go, whenever you come up with solutions, this improving education is a really common solution that's normally very easy to implement. Government should restrict violent programs on TV. So very similar here. Both of these are relevant and specific and easy to explain. Obviously, if you're going to use this as idea one, we don't want this as idea two. So one or the other, but definitely relevant. And heavy fines. So it's relevant. I think if we provide fines, is it very specific? Yeah, exactly. Nabila says fines where. So this is a really good way of deciding, is a question specific or is it vague? If you look at it and start asking questions of like, where, why, when, what for, it's vague. If you look at an idea and you go, okay, I understand exactly what it's talking about. So even Duri says imprisonment. This to me is incredibly vague. Imprisonment for what? Heavy fines for what? What are these related to? To whom? Are you just going to imprison all the young people? Now it's really clear, heavy fines for criminals. Okay, now I know this is a specific idea. So just saying heavy fines is too vague, but heavy fines for criminals, or maybe young offenders, a nice bit of crime vocabulary here, young offenders, heavy fines. Now this to me is a very specific idea. This is, so the idea itself, you're in the right place, you're thinking in the right way, but it's just the way that you're expressing it. We need strict laws to control these crimes, similar to what we're saying here. So yeah, I think this is relevant. When it says these crimes, the crime rates are increasing. So we don't actually know which crime. So again, just for wording, I think this is a little bit clearer. So we've got fines for young offenders, strict punishments there. It doesn't have to be fines, but maybe punish. Okay, so we've got 4 ideas here. So once again, we're going to go to our default of which one of these is easiest to talk about. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 and 2, a couple of 3 and 4, a couple of 3 and 4. Okay, so again, completely up to you, but by a vote from my students, we're going to go with these 2 ideas. All four of them were relevant. Something in these questions that's also very important to look at: discuss the causes and solutions for this problem. Be careful. Sometimes it might say discuss the causes and the solution for these causes. So make sure the solutions is allowed to talk about the problem here, or is the solution talking about the problem, the causes which have just been mentioned. So in this instance, it just says solutions to this problem. So all of this refers to the solutions, but just it's definitely something to check. So we've got 2 causes, 2 solutions. What is our next thing to do in our planning? So we're still planning. We've come up and we've generated ideas. Yeah, we want to think about structure. So we mentioned already for introduction, we've got paraphrase plus outline statement. And our outline statement has 2 causes, 2 solutions. Do not in your outline statement says this essay is going to talk about the causes and solutions. It is too vague, it is not good, and it will affect your coherence cohesion, no matter what some terrible YouTubers who are very popular like to say. So make sure you are outlining your 2 causes and your 2 solutions. Very, very important. So this is a multiple idea structure. So main body paragraph 1, what's it going to look like for a multiple idea? So yeah, we need to talk about 2 causes. How do we talk about 2 causes? Okay, so we start off with topic sentence 1, which is cause 1. So in our first topic sentence, we're going to explain what is our first cause. Explanation. Can I combine my explanation and my topic sentence? Can I put them into one sentence? Mara says never. No, don't do it. Especially with your first cause. If you do that with your first cause, what is the maximum you are going to get for your task response? A band 6. So it's not going to be a band 5, because a band 5 is only when your ideas are, you don't have enough ideas, or if your ideas are irrelevant. So we would have a relevant idea, but the problem is if you put the explanation in your topic sentence, it's all going to be considered as you just introducing your idea. So it means there will be no explanation, which means there's no development. And if your idea is relevant, but is not developed, you can't get over a band 6. So it's super important that these are separate sentences. And then after we've done that, we don't need an example here. We just go into idea 2, sentence 2, which introduces idea, in this case, cause 2. Then what do we need? This is the part that most people forget to do. So tomorrow's example. But no, we do not do our example yet. We still need explanation. So the way you need to think about this, anytime you write a topic sentence, you also need to write an explanation sentence. Both of them. And so many people miss this out because they go to the next part, which is the example of cause 2. Idea 1 only has a topic sentence and an explanation. Idea 2 has a topic sentence, an explanation, and an example. Okay. We can't put examples into both because it's only meant to be a 250-word essay, and you'll end up writing essays which are incredibly long, which is not the purpose. So this is the structure we follow. This one covers idea 1, or cause 1. This is cause 2. And then for our second body paragraph, our structure is what? It's a multiple idea. So it's exactly the same, but we're dealing with solutions. That actually makes our life nice and easy. So this is the structure you need to learn for a multiple idea paragraph, and you have two ideas. It would be the same if you're doing advantages and disadvantages, and you have to write 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. You follow this multiple idea structure. And then our conclusion, we restate our 4 ideas. So imagine it as you're just kind of repeating your outline statement. So your conclusion is basically a paraphrase of your outline statement. So that's the best way of visualizing what a conclusion is. And that means you have strong coherence and cohesion. This is the structure we want for this type of essay. So let's have a look at our paraphrasing. So remember, paraphrasing needs to be exactly the same or have the same meaning as the question statement. We want to change sentence structure as well as words. Don't just try and go synonym for synonym. It's quite a short sentence. It should be quite easy to paraphrase here. First thing to do, have a look at what synonyms we can come up with. That this is really, really common in many countries. That many countries could turn into a lot of nations. Do not use the word some as a synonym for many. A large number of countries would also work. Yep, that would be fine. Crime rates among younger people. So my trainer said several nations. No, don't use several. Several is a good synonym for some. It is not a good synonym for many. So if you see many, use a lot of. If you use some. Crime rates amongst younger people. Let's try and think of this not in a, I'm just going to go synonym for synonym. So rate of crime among youth, for me, is trying to go synonym for synonym. But unfortunately, this is the natural way to write that. So if you've got these like big chunks and you just try and go synonym for synonym, your paraphrase is not going to be natural, because what was probably already written was the best way to write it in this kind of structure. So how can we like change the structure of this a little bit better? Okay, young people committing crimes. I'm actually going to compare that with what was mentioned earlier. So I think this would be a nice way of explaining. So the number of young people. Tamara said the rates of crime activities. So again, unfortunately, if you go by this, show a few of these ideas. So what's happened here is our students have looked at this and pretty much gone, okay, how can I paraphrase or just find synonyms? Now, crime rates amongst young people is a natural way of expressing this. So the rates of crime activity, suddenly this is not a natural way of writing this. Rate of crime among youth, not a natural way of writing this, because we're trying to keep this exact same structure. Whereas we look at this, we've completely changed it. The number of young people committing crimes is completely reworded this. This is a natural way to do this. And that's the problem with just going synonym for synonym. Quite often in English, you've got chunks of language that go together. And if you just go synonym for synonym, although here, like, yeah, let's see, with or amongst, you can maybe change this, is not the natural way that these words go together. So your collocation is not natural. Really trying to think of how can I change the structure rather than just synonym for synonym. And that will really help you. And then have been rising, increasing, yeah. Here we don't really want to change the tense too much. Maybe we could use have been, so are increasing. I think this also would work here. But be very careful with tenses because we still want to have the same meaning. How can we change? So we've got 3 chunks here for paraphrasing. So this kind of introductory prepositional phrase could maybe be put somewhere else. My trainer said the number of young people who commit crimes. Yeah, that works. We could put it at the end. Yeah. So maybe we could just go with this. Have or has been rising, or are or is increasing. Let's look at this. What is the subject of this? So anyone who took my prepositional phrase class the other day knows that our subject is never in the prepositional phrase. So number is what our collocation needs to go with. Our prepositional phrase is just giving extra information about our main noun. Our main noun here is number. The number of young people committing crimes. So we say is or has been increasing in a lot of nations. Now we've completely changed the sentence structure around. We have exactly the same meaning, and this is a really nice paraphrase. But the key here was this chunk here. Rather than looking at going, okay, younger individuals, amongst, between, and trying to find synonyms for each word, try to think, what does this actually mean? And that's going to give you much more natural paraphrases, rather than it just looking to the examiner that you've gone, okay, I'm going to swap that word for that word, swap that word for that word, which is what a lot of students do. Okay, so on to our outline statement. So our outline statement, this is where we outline the main ideas that you're going to talk about in your essay. It is an index of your essay, and it is essential to have a clear outline statement for your coherence cohesion. When we write outline statements for multiple idea essays, when you state your ideas, should you state them as clauses, or should you state them as noun phrases? Maitreya says clauses. Yeah, clauses. Excellent. So after our paraphrasing, we're going to come into this and we're going to write in clauses. So I'm going to give you an example with our ideas. So where are our ideas quickly? I'm going to show you what I mean for the causes part, and then I'm going to throw it over to you for the solutions part. So what can I put here? The causes of one word always covers this in an outline statement. This, exactly. I don't need this phenomenon. I don't need this situation. I don't need this trend. The causes of this. That's all you need, because it's referring to what's just come before. So I'm not going to say no employment influenced by TV. So we want subject, verb, object. Are we going to say no employment or greater unemployment? There is a lack, okay? There is a lack of employment, younger people. And they, rather than saying younger people over and over again, we can use nice referencing pronouns, as long as it's clear what they're referencing. Influenced by violent TV programs. Tomorrow, so say spend too much time watching violent TV programs, and so make sure you put the word time after too much tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, and this is how we do it. The causes of this are, we've got idea 1, idea 2, and why do I not put a comma before my coordinating conjunction? So normally when I join two independent clauses, I would put a comma before the and. But here we're talking about two objects. Yeah. So the causes of this are, so we've got object 1, object 2. If this confuses you, don't worry. If you put a comma in here, it's not going to stop you getting a band 8 in your essay. But if you can understand it, when you have compound objects, we don't actually put a comma. So it's a minor little grammatical feature, but this is going to come up a lot in multiple idea outline statements and multiple idea conclusions. So you will notice when I've done that, I've got one sentence here for causes, and I'm going to have one sentence for the solutions. And this is the homework for you guys to complete outline statements. So if you can write, I'll put the recording of this in the Facebook group. If you can write your outline statements in the Facebook group, or for you tomorrow, you can put it in the YouTube channel. So I'll put it up, and then I will have a look at those and make sure that your outline statements are correct. Just remember to outline the two ideas. These are going to be the solutions that go along with this. Okay, so improve education, heavy punishments, and these are our solutions. I hope you guys found that useful. Obviously, we covered quite a lot today, and because there was multiple ideas, it took us a little bit longer than usual. So I'll be interested in seeing your homework. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments or join our Facebook group. Good luck to everyone in their studies, and I will catch you soon.